Hello, my name is Nisha. I'm once again here. I'm still in a, you'll have to excuse us on my lip there, it's a bit of dryness from tobacco smoking. I'm still in Lakeview in Naas. I'll give you a quick view around here what it's like. There are 40, 50 foot walls in the smoking area. In the same sense, I have a 8 foot by 4 to 6 foot space for my bed. I'm stuck in here under the mental health act where apparently the doctor believes I have a mental health illness and I need to be treated, or I don't know what the other word that was used, but basically internalised into hospital until I come clear of an illness apparently. I feel every time I go into these hospitals I deteriorate because it's a sense of a missionary that you go into these hospitals. It's a sense of enforcement, it's a sense of dictation, and all these informalities but inferiorities which cause fury on occasions because of the level of hurt and pain they cause within. They basically don't trigger off any kind of recusance, in the sense of any harmonics coming through to really purify and heal and soothe. And I don't know if anyone knows what the word harmonics means. It means consonance. Consonance means healthy, pure vibes. So if I send you good vibes, I praise you, I say bless you in the name of God, bless you in the name of the Father, I think thank you. But in here when someone comes along and says, I'm going to take away your blessing which you have the outside world, I'm going to take away your God-given right, which is your inherent right to freedom, under the Constitution of Ireland for example, it's a recommiscence. It's recumbrant, it's decipherable, and it's ambivalent. So it dents you in every way possible basically. And then the question comes along and says you're schizophrenic. It says I'm schizophrenic. Schizophrenia is defined as hearing voices, having hallucinations and being delusional. As I explained in other videos, there's no such thing as any of these things realistically unless they're defined. Which means prioritise what you see there above my head. Well, we can use any words we want, but in different languages we do have different words. We have cospa in the Irish language, the ring, cospa. We also have on shullet, plastic granite light, but also remembrance of the sun, solace. We have cordial. Cordial is a Spanish dialect for cordial, which means to turn on or ding on, or the ding dong bell. So in many languages and many vibes, there's many sensations. But in here, this psychiatric unit, the psychiatric hospital, you have no sensations. You are about to be killed off every time you come in here. For me, it's been once a year the last 5 years. And the explanation for me hasn't come what schizophrenia developed from, in the sense of it being an apparent disease. In the same sense, where does it stem from? Who concoct the word of schizophrenia and what agenda they have to heal, to cure, or to personify themselves? So in that sense, is it a word that was concocted in the sense of becoming like schizophrenic, in the sense of understanding it, or is it just an internal dialogue that turned into an external veillquet? Veillquet meaning vignette, in other words, where something becomes an apparency within the outside world because of its profilency and affluency, or its illness in of itself, the word in the scripto. So someone comes along and says there's a word here, this is an illness, and my upsetness, my rage, my anger is the fact that this very illness called schizophrenia is just this in of itself, the title itself, schizophrenia. That's what it is. For me, there's no substantial proof to anything in here that's of any way interpreting anything wrong. And if I was to hear voices, I'd feel very privileged when I hear voices because my family bestowing upon me. It's my family talking to me. It's my hallucinations are some of the most blessed creations, blessed parts of creation, because you're getting visions from God. Delusions, they can be indictful, but they can be contentful to tear you away from the further raptures of life. So there's many coincidental remedial fashions which encounter us, which can be very beneficial to our bestowment. Bestowment is so much to seek, or which your soul is made for, or which your subconscious or political senses don't allow or permit, or don't evaluate, in other words. So we have our own ways of processing deal with things, because we're all unique, we're all like sensory, dilatory beings in our own way. And in that sense, one of the main things I want to talk about in this video is cannabis. Cannabis is a plant I've smoked for many years, but I used to be a very fit, healthy, and agile, good heart especially when I done the cannabis. Now my heart feels depleted. My teeth are kind of rotten, and especially here from the tobacco stains. But I'm brushing them more regularly lately. My hair is a mess. I can do with a haircut, but we'll see how it goes. But other than that, I feel a mess because I don't have the internal stress alleviator, rejuvenator, as I call it. So in other words, cannabis works on the endocannabinoid system, the digestive system. The endocannabinoid system is broken into three parts of the system. I'm not 100% what the third is, but it's the digestive system, the circadian rhythm cycle, or circadian system, which is our night and sleep day model. And then there's the I think it's the liver system. If that's not with the digestive system, there's some other part as well. And it's completely blank out, but there's the endocannabinoid system, which is what endocannabinoids are mainly what's found in the female or male cannabis plant. And they heal us and nurture us, and they provide a super nutritious content to our being, making us very alive, very aware, very conscious, and very creative, and very prolific within our art, whatever art we're pursuing, whether it be handwriting, graphics, photography, any form of art we pursue, the knowledge is enhanced under the influence of cannabis, because it's a herb, it's a medicine, and it's a sacred plant. And for that reason, I'd like it to be one of my desires now in the coming years is to try and develop some methodology, to develop some sort of school under which people can develop healthy cannabis, rather than the abstinence which has negated society for many years now, and the influence of an underground society which to undermine the likes of governments and societal practice such as arrest in the name of condemning those who wish to smoke medicine or an eating herb or a conditional substance which brings about a substantial level of harmony to the being. And this from experience I can guarantee you is a case for me personally. Alcohol, for example, will turn me zany, will turn me zitty, will turn me zany. I won't tell you I've done an alcohol because it's the same for everybody, you don't want to talk about it. And this is one of my disagreements with psychiatry. They bring you here to expect you to partake in all the truths that are being revealed. It's a sensitive, subtle place for people to go to. But in the same sense, I wouldn't feel as broken had I not been introduced to psychiatry at the original time. But in saying that, they provide me with form saying that cannabis is responsible for psychosis and schizophrenia and all its diseases. I think it's the other way around. I think these guys haven't consumed cannabis because they believe in schizophrenia, psychosis, all their mental raptations or aberrations could come into play, which means their own mental hindrances will come into play, where cannabis frees up all the electromagnetic spectrum of the human being, all the hue light beams of light that you perceive through the human being when you see a being of light. They can become more affluent, they can become more prolific, and they become much more obvious. Us beings of light become more obvious within our own stance, within our own steadfast. And I'm not joking about it being a undigested plant, in the sense of being so very suggestive in its own way, the way it wants to express itself through the human being in relation to wanting to mate and breed and spread. And that's the same as us human beings, we're not too far away. In saying that, I've written down a little story in my book there, a little page saying I'm going to become a cannabis teacher, because I've read the book on science, I've read the book on manual on growing, I've read 2 or 3 manuals on growing cannabis. I have grown 10 to 12 plants over the course of a lifetime, mostly successfully. They're a very easy plant to grow, they're cheap to buy, they're easy to nurture, and it's not the most invasive of things to do, in the sense of being the most prerogative thing for people to hound or bewitch, because people who smoke cannabis live happy, comfortable lives, mostly, that I know, because I know a lot of people who smoke cannabis, or I did used to before I was interested in psychiatry and in the social behavioural community, which was the derogatory notion of planting into my mind or into my subconscious state, making me question up here all the time. Where is the illness? What's wrong with me? Where is the illness? What's wrong with me? Where is the illness? What's wrong with me? And because it can't be explained, it creates an abnormality. And that abnormality is expressed through your behaviour then, because you can't express it. And this is where we look to heal and nurture through other substances. But if that substance is prevailed within, rather than antipsychotics being thrown down your neck, that means you're congesting the notion, you're congesting the healing probability of the apparent actualization of schizophrenia or psychosis. These for me are major flaws in society which need to be ironed out. I don't know how to pronounce it any better. But basically, when you concoct a notion like the notion of schizophrenia, then create a drug to work against it, which may work hand in hand now, in the sense of an evolutionary disparity. Basically, it's like someone wants to come along and work in an agency. Say we don't want certain people to be evolved, we don't want certain people to be transcendental, we don't want certain people to meditate or condescend, but comprehend in that sense. But to not be under condescension, and that means that we go through our own ascension process, our own guide, our own tour, our own time. And that is one of the reasons, like I stated before when my videos I'm in here, but like I say, every time I'm in here I feel a wreck. I feel an absolute wreck. I feel big heavy bags under my eyes. I feel my hair is skittling all over the place, and I feel my cheeks, my chin feel very heavy in relation to what I'm carrying. That's just how I appear, but it's not the most important thing in life. The most important thing is it's feeling safe and secure. I already dealt with that. I deal with this through meditation every day. This is one of the practices I ordeal. But in saying that, what I hope to do is bring cannabis to a holistic and enlightened environment that people don't understand. where you can rewrite the Bush Hogan era stereotypage of negating against a medicinal plant. Medicine is medicine, and some of us require medicine for things like sleep agonisation, ill stomachs, cancer pruritus, arthritis, MS. The young lady with Dravet syndrome couldn't even heal if it wasn't for support as well. The CBD or THC extract that came from Holland there in recent years to the Republic of Ireland. Every day I feel the tear in here though. I didn't sleep again last night, which is why I'm up doing this today, to frontier my own life and see if I can excel it, despite being behind closed doors. And I can't pronounce it any differently than I'm locked into a hospital without being permitted to go. And I've had 3 visits altogether. I've been out 4 to 5 times over the course of 13 weeks. And they're telling me this is a healing model. This is torture, and it's very stereotypical of what the Jews went through in neo-Nazi Germany. For me, it is seeing the Baraka movie, Baraka. If you watch the movie, you'll get a good idea of what went on there in the Jewish territory of Germany, so to speak. And that's what I'm going to call it then, in the hope that they're disposed so in its own way. And it's not a laughing matter in case people don't laughing. It's more so the case that what I heard one time from Native Indian prophecy or wisdom was that you become what you harm. So that's why some of us that feel strength of character don't mind getting lashed into battles, because if you become what you harm, which means I'll put myself up in front of a fist sometimes, in a sense. I've never really done it, but I'm just saying as a suggestive kind of hypothetical matter. The person becomes soft if you feel that fist, if you feel your soft being. And I certainly feel a soft being, despite what I've done in recent years, which is not discussed, which is to lose my temper. And if I had my cannabis, I don't feel in the same position. And unlike alcohol, cannabis is the one thing that brings me to fruition throughout myself. It makes me clear, it makes me avid, it makes me lucid, it makes me all the beloved things in life. It allows me to dream. It allows me to conjure my own dreams, my own heavens, my own desire for heaven. It brings about all these things very clearly. And other than that, I feel lost. I feel completely lost. What is a catering and a catering tool, just like the gator will go under the water to snap. You come out of the water and you swim around and you snap. It's like me looking for my cannabis. I'm coming out of the water looking for my cannabis right now. And the same since the alligator will go back underneath the surface when it has what it's needed. And that's the underground society for you, where you're told to keep your mouth shut and stay put and wait for what's given to you. Whereas I don't want that for people. I think people are worth more, deserve more, are worth more, respect more, and deserve more. And that's the name of having a healthy medicine rather than the antipsychotics, which you have certain substances here that I don't want to talk about, but make you feel they draw the soul out of you, see. They draw your soul out of you. And if you can look at my face and see how healthy I look, you see I don't look that healthy at all. I'm only 33 right now. And I'm living a haggard life because I've been introduced to psychiatry as far as I'm concerned. I've looked for jobs, they declined because I told them I had mental health prognosis. But I'm not joking to be a form of gnosis in its own way, in a form of being controlled, notion, enthralled within the mind, enthralled in a sense of a negative enthrallment, not enthralled as a happy enthrallment, but a negative enthrallment where the seed is planted in, like any word as a child. If they heard it, I'll use this analogy before, I'm going to try and think of a different one. But if a child is introduced to soccer, he might become a soccer fanatic. If a child is introduced to GAA, he might become a GAA fanatic. If a child is introduced to heroin, he might become a heroin addict. All these affluents play out with us through our development years. I'm not telling anyone to go and smoke cannabis in their teenage years, or if it wasn't legal to the age of 18, which it should be realistically here, because grown men know themselves, grown women know themselves. I don't know how you can negate against that. And if people are free to fight certain vice of drugs, I don't feel it's not a form of biasism, but it's not bias, but a form of bigotry to neglect my culture and my cultural desires and my welfare in relation to searching for cannabis. And because I can't find my cannabis, it's difficult to see for me at night time. That's my honest to God truth on it. I don't know how many other people feel like this, but it's not the end of the world if someone smokes cannabis. It's the end of their world, apparently, if they find you with it, though. And some people's parents, I understand people out to prison, people have been arrested, people have got criminal court convictions. These are the appeals that need to be made in society. These are the things that need to be drawn out and made rebuked that amongst the rest of us that are wrong. Because we've already included in ourselves as a society. I'm not the only one who doesn't feel the collective. We all feel the collective. We all feel the collective pain on occasions, and sometimes it's nice, sit down and roll up a favourite joint and smoke it and let the day pass by. So in the name of relaxing, I'll relax from me now. I get off my chest. I basically wrote that I'm going to be a script writer for abunding in cannabis. That means I'm going to acquire some cannabis somewhere, or else I'll grow it myself. And I'm going to teach people how to grow it themselves, and I'm also going to teach people how to consume it. But I'm going to pursue landrace strains, because they're going underneath the surface. Which was my worry about 10 to 11 years ago, that certain coffee shops in Amsterdam were trying to buy out the landowners of those places where the land restraints come from. These are very rural places in the likes of Afghanistan, in the likes of Zimbabwe, in the likes of Tunisia, and places like this where you have because they're grown naturally. You see certain coffee shops now have gone to these places, put in their GMO seeds, which are lab created seeds, and they try to outgrow the seedrant, the proceeding plant. The proceeding plant is what's known to have the most magical chemical, the most magical element, which is the free substance of THC. And the reason I call it free is because it's not subjugated by any artificial chemicals or remedies. Remedies being remedial notions, just notions that claim to fix and heal, but actually obtrude or construed by impartisans, by intrusory measures into the plant. So in saying that, I hope to God that makes it clear that I'm hoping to get my cannabis in the coming months and years, my land strains, grow them somewhere, develop a business, and create a school like they have in Amsterdam. They have a school of teaching people how to grow cannabis. So I'm going to try and do something similar here for those who don't know about it. I want to be educated on it. I want to be affiliated with the plant in their older age, or anything of the sorts really, to create a ground level. And I'm putting it out there for as many people to share and do the same as they want. Try and catch on board, because it's a big, I don't want to look at it as a business because it's a free plant. I don't want to super improvise over the plant. I really want to stay free knowing stay free knowing its culture and its religion within itself as a plant. When you get to know the plant itself, and that's the same, you can grow affection for a cat or a dog or a plant. And people might think it's a bit sadistic, that's their own issues. So I'm here to say I'm going to try and do that in my own time, hopefully when I get let go from this institution. Because this place is damaging me, holding me indoors. This place is damaging me, giving me drugs. This place is damaging, not respecting my rights. I feel so detrimentally harmed, it's not even funny. And I don't know how many wounds I have in me, but each day I wake up in this place, which is why I don't go to sleep in here. The wounds get bigger. But all my request is, for now, is my medicinal cannabis. And from the left hand, as I explained for the last 17 minutes, what I want to do to my right hand, I hope they can join with it. Can either meet me with my requirements for medicinal cannabis, which I say I need. And under the Constitution it says I have a right to healthy medicine, but I presume that's under presumption. As in, I presume it's acknowledged that I presume what my own medicine is required by my body, which you have to listen to. And if you don't listen to it, I don't see how you get by in life, how you can be courteous to yourself, because you're not courteous to oneself, you won't be courteous to another. And that's my worry, that people are really going down the path of the waywardly in that regard. And they already have in my eyes. I'm not letting me out of hospital because I'm just deteriorating. And yesterday my father was in for a visit. The doctor said, I said to him, can you let me out for some leave? Can you let me go home for 2 or 3 nights? No. And I wonder what kind of sick world do we live in where people are told they can't go home to their own homes, even for a visit to their pet animals is what I really want. Genuinely, I want to visit my pet animals. And you might think it's the small petty stuff in life that really derails or bemuses, but it is. It does derail and it does bemuse why someone would be so stern in their opinion to have their healing tactic or method work, which I've been proven over the past 9 years, because psychiatry has just deteriorated me over the past 9 years. I have proven in my own life it doesn't work. And yet the suicides are up 2.1 billion, apparently, are the figures over the course of 400 years. But it's, or the 2.1 million. Either way, we're in the millions of suicides due to psychiatry, because the likes of Prozac invoke mental health suicidal tendencies. And people talk about mental health like they know about it. It's only language, and any language at all. And if Chris today, and Dublin day, American, maybe you can at all. And fully assault, Bishop Barton, my house. I'm not of the bird, I'm not of the train, I'm not of the tree, but all three are dialecting in of themselves. But all three represent something in and of itself. That there is a sense of scale about oneness, about the one seen, the one eyed, the one known. And once all one, once the little fraction is known, all is known. And that's what I try to bestow people, but the cannabis has helped me along my path. I want it back in my life. So I'm putting this video out there for those who care, for those who don't care. Please don't get negate and nasty. I want cannabis back in my life. I'm going to make damn sure I make happy. Under the 2 other constitutional rights, my inherent right to freedom, which means freedom of practice, I presume. There's also the freedom of cultural freedom, which this psychiatry unit has also negated over the past 2 years. We're putting behind closed walls on both my cultural outlets. We're in the March equinox and the June summer solstice, both years in a row. These are extremely disheartening points for me as an Irishman to actually go through this, where it's real in this moment where I'm being imprisoned or paralysed against society, where 3.1 million people might vote in this country to say go home, they want the best for me. You have maybe a couple of 100,000 or a few dozen saying he's not allowed to go home. I'm not allowed to. And I'm a 33-year-old grown man. And if you think I can't debate my situation, which I have, I debate it day and night, but people are trying to wear me out here and wear me down. And in that sense, I'm struggling to find out further and further what's wrong with me, where I make personal inquiries on a daily basis to work on myself, to grow and develop within myself, and to remember myself in each interaction. And that's to make peace with each interaction. But in saying how sick this is, keep me trapped away here, is volatile for me. And I feel a very cold trodden day come upon me here today. And in that sense, it's like a 9-year status quo that someone has given me in the court system without letting me know. So it's a form of punishment in that sense, where you're consciously, if you're subconscious or you're conscious, or your subconscious knows about the notionality of what you're going through, you can make heathens with it. But if someone convicts you, penalises or convicts you in a certain sense without telling you, and it's some sort of stubbornness in their level or sternness, that's their problem. It shouldn't really affect my life, because we're supposed to have inherent compartment freedoms, which is really what God bestowed upon us all. And when these start being infringed upon, you get disappointment days, you get real hard days. And that's not for anyone else's conclusion to come to put me on that I know I'm having a bad day today. And saying that I don't know what time I get to sleep, but I'm saying that people are making sure I have a hard day because I'm letting them know I'm having hard days and they're not concluding against. So in that sense, it's a scary vitalisation process. It's not vitalising, it'll be revitalised at the end of it, but at this moment in time it's vitalising to realise there is such supplementary in the same time, in the sense that people want to supplement their own lives over yours. On the level of engagement, but generosity, it really is unacceptable in my eyes. So I'm the one who's claimed to be sick in this world. They're claiming that the doctor believes I have a mental health disorder. I'm just going over this one more time. The doctor believes I have a mental health disorder, but I'm the one that I have to go home to my own free space where I feel comfortable. And I feel I'm I did hear here on a daily basis. And if you watch any other videos which are up on this YouTube account, my other YouTube account, you'll see me much clearer and much firmer at home than I am in here. Because this place is like an abandonment unto itself, where I'm expected to abandon myself in the sense of committing suicide. Whereas I guarantee the average person does not want that for the average person. So these are nasty, neglectful people in their own way, in my eyes. Nasty, neglectful people that don't care if they visit every 2 weeks to a Dr. Mazood, or whatever his name is, some Muslim abolitionist. And the reason I call him abolitionist is because he harbours a lot of affairs in the sense of making a lot of money and having a lot of entailment in his so-called psychiatric business in terms of healing. But I guarantee there's no healing method behind that invisible disease. And I still challenge anyone to concur where schizophrenia is, other than it being just a converted term within the English language. And what schizophrenia represents means that people avoid me for my terminalisticness, which is my terminal illness, but you have no proof of me having. And you're also suggesting that it should be avoided by other members of civilization, because there's a target on my head, like a big bullseye right there, saying that I should be avoided because I am schizophrenic. That means there's someone to watch in case I go schizo. And you might get the arbitrary notions of my being that I'm expressing these, that he looks a bit schizo or whatever, and it's my own obscurity. But that's because I have to process these terms every single day. Why does it happen to me? The answer doesn't come because it's not clear, because it's not the truth. And that's why I say people are I'm consuming their truths. People are consuming my truths. But I'm saying people are forcing me to consume their truths by putting tablets down my mouth every day to shut me up. These are dry, coarse tablets. And if it's not the tablets that you decline, then it's in with the injection. They turn you over on your backside, they put you on your buttocks, they pull out your buttock, and they inject you in the backside. These are not pleasant things to happen to the human being in any level, at any day, at any age. And these people think they're remarkably spectacular people in their own way for whatever reasons I don't understand, but they wear their highfalutin suits, they wear their big clubby shoes, they don't connect to the earth, they don't revere nature, they don't revere the average being, as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise they would let me go home weeks, if not months ago. So whoever's concluding against me, if you watch this, please stop concluding against me, try to work with me and ask me what my problem is, and I'll come clear with it. And then you see if I'm moosh within hours, like therapy sessions I've done. I did 5 years of therapy over the course of the last 8 years as well. Do you think it brings me anywhere? No, but I guarantee you, substance does, canvas does. What else does? Fresh air and walking. What else does? The pool, the gym, water. What else does? Reading, writing, articulating oneself. All the normal methods that I could buy in life, which aren't new or fresh, they're well known. But businesses like this come in to say you need to be behind here for a certain reason. Like a place like this, if people can see it, this is a smoking area in this place. Beautiful images of nature, but they're only facades, you know why? You can't touch a tree. You can't touch that tree there and that backdrop there. So in saying that, I feel very neglected. But neglected means neglected, but also lettered in my own way. That people want to make money off me, that someone has let me out to make money off me. This is the other influence, this is the other influence that comes into my mind that I perceive. So whoever is doing this, I think you're a bit flawed in your own way for claiming that I'm flawed. But you're beating me up here in your own way, you're bullying me, but it's not in the form that you're physically doing it, you're mentally and coercively doing it, with your other methods of destabilisation. And because I appear destabilising in the eyes of some, in some reclusory terms or ideologies, or positions, in other words, with factual or geographical places, it's easy to conclude against. But I'm asking you to look at my heart and my soul, mainly my eyes right now, and see how terrified and dead I actually am. Dead to the world, and I'm not one that would give up that easy. Anyone knows, knows I'm strong, knows I'm very strong, but it's a wearing down, breaking process that I feel I'm going through, and this is why I have to get up and stand up against it, and this is why I'm doing my videos, and this is why I'm trying to promote myself in any shape or form through any other means of business. Even though I'm not that money orientated, I have to survive, but this place isn't a matter of survival, it's a matter of distinction, and it's distincting one from another in here where they say this person's allowed to leave to go home or to be in the outside world, and one isn't. And this is every single day these decisions are being made, despite them claiming tribunals have the rule, or the doctor has the rule, or the nurse has the rule, or the way they contribute around themselves, or the guards have the rule. Because if I talk to the nurse guides me towards the doctor. I talk to the doctor, it's out of his hands. It's not out of his hands, so it really isn't. He says it's up to the tribunal. Then if it's up to the tribunal, I say I'm walking out and I claim my sovereignty, which is on a right I have. They say the guards are going to come after you and drag me back in here. And that's the process you undergo. If you drag you back in here, you have to undergo the other called a medication process before you go out to the other side again. And I'm saying, who in the right mind would drag a healthy young man to a hospital without any proof of conviction, just to prove a point that he's not worthy of life? And who would have such an issue, saying that I am the issue though? Well, can this be confronted for me, these affronted measures? Can anybody question these in themselves? Do you see any other negatory truths coming through these processes either? That's all I'm going to ask you for now. It's gone on for half an hour. I'll leave it at that. I'm quite exhausted being up all night, and I apologise for the grit of my tongue and my lip here. If anyone knows who I am, it's Nish from North County Dublin. I live in Clare half my life. I consider myself a decent person. If you have vengeance for me, please think about it and realise you're causing harm here. And it's not fair. I don't feel it's fair to put me in here, and I want to go home. I was having a strong argument the other day up to the point of providing ingredients for the medication, which it took them 9 years. I asked for the ingredients for the medication for 9 years as to what they were putting into my mouth that made me 6 stone overweight. They made me assault two of my friends on a certain level, not on a physical level, but on a certain level that I felt guilty of, which is just an emotional level really, but still. I lost all my social status, all my social contacts within the space of 2 years when I was first institutionalised. I still hope to live a life, I still think I can live a life, and I still feel and strongly believe I will live a life. And I believe that ulterior motives or motives such as subjectivity, such as deliriumness, and such as recursiveness won't come to the surface underneath me guiding myself or being guided through this process of fruition, where I come to my own stairway and I say thank you, and I'll knock on the door. Thank you for the knock on the door though, coming from the other side, so to speak, because it's always going to come from me, and that's what I know, and that's what everyone knows. And if you don't know that, that's reassurance for you that I will come from you, because I'm in here to give other people reassurance as well as I'm concerned, because I see the fear not only pointing to me. The shake isn't there as much today, but because of being bandaged up after being injected and denying drugs, they do get assaulted with you. And that means they come in, they pin in your body and they pin you down. And these are all physical remarkments under the Constitution of crimes. So God knows what crime I committed to be for so many crimes that were admitted against me. And even if I did commit crimes, you would know what I like to look through my personal business, I look through my personal life, to those detailers who I do feel have arrested me in recent years. And because of that, I'm saying they should not have the right to the Dáil Éireann. And also to the Dáil Éireann, I'm saying I want my right to medicine be respected. And also the Dáil Éireann, things iron themselves out, but it's us down here that you don't really respect, as far as I can tell, that don't necessarily need or want to respect, but do the work with courtesy and hard work that is to keep this country going. That's all 4.5 million of us. So please don't think you're isolated, please don't think you're segregated, and please don't think you're off measure from the rest of us. Like some people think you're too big for your own boots. That's because you're not respecting your rights. I expect my medicine. I expect my right to go free. I expect my right to go free. If these things are proceeded under the Constitution, that means their nature is under threat from what is built the foundations underneath of. That means we have to be prepared for this. But I don't see anyone on TV explaining these measures. Maybe I don't watch a lot of TV, but I can't watch because of the strain it brings me. But anyway, that's me speaking my voice. I'm going to de-stress now for a few minutes. I'll probably have another cigarette and see if I can get some rest. So thank you for listening. The half hour mark is coming up here now, and I'll leave it at that. But basically, I'm going to work towards cannabis fruition and tuition, And that's because it's a beautiful craft and a beautiful thing to do. Nurturing anything in your life is a stunning thing to do, especially when you're lonely and single. So, saying that, thank you. Bye bye.